Yes, we are live.
We're here. Awesome.
Yeah, some magic.
Yes.
So,
I always look forward to what we're cooking up.
yes, absolutely. I'm also very excited to have you back on my channel, Loncen.
Thank you, my dear.
It's great to have you. So, yeah, how are you?
I'm re- I'm really good. I have went through some lows this yesterday, but it led to some pretty amazing breakthroughs. So, it kind of mirrors a lot of what we're going to be talking about today too. So I'm excited and I'm feeling really good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel also very good each time, we talk because we really can meet in a very, in a very deep level.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what it's about. Hey, it's like no matter how quickly the world moves, it's the actual connections that we have, that the memories that we form, and what we truly share genuinely that actually sticks. So I agree.
Absolutely. So, can you briefly just say once again, like, what are you up to? Like, uh,
Yeah.
you
So
do.
yeah. So my work is in embodiment, but specifically, I work with people that are in a threshold, and there's some feedback coming back. You're crackling. I don't know if it's when I talk or yeah. There, Ola, yeah. For me, yeah, getting back to what I was saying, I work with people who are in a threshold, and these are those moments in life where you're trying to hold your ground, but there's something externally that's pretty challenging. Where you need to locate where you are within the circumstance. So I help people with that and ground in.
That's amazing. Yeah, because I mean, I was like thinking how to describe, how to introduce you
Yeah,
a field of specialization,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
is somehow emotional work as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, like I mean, for me, as I'm sure that you can relate to too, right? But I mean, it surrounds the biggest challenges that we've had, and I mean, I have had a lot of challenge locating myself in different situations. I'm very good at understanding other people's perspectives, and at the same time, the shadow of that is it's very easy to lose myself in what I'm hearing around me. So, having the perspective is one thing, but to actually come from my own, still maintaining my own sense of grounding, regardless of what I'm going through, who I'm talking to, that's what I've had to do a lot of work on, and what I also now help other people with.
Yeah, so let me just read your bio actually that I put last time, that
Okay.
you work with people who are highly intuitive,
Yeah.
creative, and I wouldn't put there or, but and self-aware, and you help them to translate inner clarity into grounded movement in their lives and work. So that means that you focus on embodied orientation, clean decision making, and helping people trust and act from their own signal rather than external frameworks.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. So even how I do the work is different. So it's not me coming in as the expert, so to speak, but I'm just creating the conditions where they can meet what they need to inside themselves. Because the thing is,
Mhm.
once we can maintain that sense of inner authority, that changes how things play out. A lot of times, what I find is that it's very easy for us to dismiss that subtle signal that sometimes come in on behalf of what we're hearing or what we're being told, right? It's so easy to say, if I come in with more certainty than somebody else and my perspective or opinion is different, it's very easy for me to sway them in a direction that may not be beneficial for them. So what we're listening for is the subtlety of that signal, the faintness of that quick no, that part of us that is like, no, this isn't for me, but yet we may dismiss it because something externally seems more certain.
Yeah, That's interesting, that we all have like different beliefs and like different opinions. And sometimes, or even not sometimes, we're witnessing that it's like we fight with each other just by standing, that we have our truth and we are unable to meet, simply unite and meet
Yeah.
without these frameworks, as you say.
Yeah. 100%. Well, and it's like, all we end up doing is talking at each other, right? From a very limited perspective. Like when you think about it, I mean, how many people are on the earth at this present time? And that's, if we break it down, that all of us represents a different version of the world. So
Absolutely.
can we really argue with each other? Because, the perspectives we carry. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because mm, as I observe people, they are often, in their survival mind,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're stuck in their past, they're not in the present moment,
Yeah.
in a victim mode,
Yeah.
victim of whatever is going on around, victim
Yeah.
of circumstances.
Yeah. Well, and it's a risky place to be because it requires that we are present to whatever's happening as it's happening, right? Versus uh, oftentimes we're imposing a story on it. We're trying to make it mean something other than what it is. When it when you're dealing with reality, you really do have to connect with it, take it in, connect especially with the parts of it that are challenging or we don't like, and that is extremely difficult, especially when we don't have practice at it. So it's like being in that place where we're being asked to engage with something that has real risk to it. The potential that we're going to come out of the experience changed. That it's like sliding down a slide and you don't exactly have control over it because it's not the mind leading it. It's experience, and anything can happen. So, it's the degree that you could be open to the range of possibility in the moment that determines the level of steadiness that we can actually carry as we move forward. And I say this from experience because it's been a lot of practice in staying present in every situation when it comes up. There's times that something happens either in a relationship context or an event that feels a lot bigger than my ability to handle it. And it's the same thing I see in other people, is that when we face things like that, the first thing we do is we try and orient ourselves through a story. And the two most common ways is spiritualizing it, putting a spiritual context on it. I'm this person from this way of handling it, which is good, but it's still overlaying a story over the context of what's actually happening, right? Where we're orienting from the concept rather than the grounded sense of being able to be oriented in whatever we're in. And it's like I said, it's a scary place to be.
Yes, it is a very scary place to be, because out of the comfort zone, actually, it's in the comfort zone, and aim is to get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, like right now, as an example, right? We just got on the call. There's an audience watching, so there may be a certain level of risk, right? But if I'm to check in with myself immediately, there's this part of me that wants to project this sense of certainty, right? I want to appear a certain way on camera, and that's a story that I'm feeding off of rather than anchoring in, calming myself down, being present to what's actually here, being present to you. It's a very different way of moving, right? But we're so practiced in working off of the story versus what's actually here that it's such an easy go-to for us, for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So, uh, let's talk about the communication
Mm,
between people. Why there is oftentimes, or why do even we don't know how to communicate, how
mm,
to approach each other?
mm. From my perspective, and there's many, is that it comes down to contact first, right? Like it's not just two minds meeting, but it's two real events taking place in the moment. So if I'm coming on to connect with you, it's not only what I have to say, it's also listening, feeling, it's orienting. It's this back and forth dance in the essence of the energy between us, that we're not just looking to dominate each other, because the intelligence can come through me or you at any one point. You know, there's no real expert in the room, and we're making space for the third element, which is the serendipity that comes through the moment. When we can do that and make space for it and not need to be the one in control or leading, but playing with the possibility of what's coming through our dynamic, you know, that's where it gets interesting. That's where it becomes something that can be more than the sum total of what we're both bringing. And that's a hard place to be, because again, it has risk.
Oh yeah. So we see there is always some level of risk, whether whether it's something very like important or less important, depending on us. But there is always some risk, whatever we do,
Yeah.
because there is the level of the risk that brings also the responsibility with it, and also uncertainty, because most of the things that happen in our life we have out of control. We
Yeah.
don't control.
Yes. Yes. When you say responsibility, what do you mean? 'Cause
Own
that's a
it.
beautiful word. Yes.
Owning.
Ooh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. How I would term that is, yes, it's like the ability to know that in every moment we can respond, right? And sometimes that's the first thing that disappears, especially when we're facing difficult moments. It's almost like um, we feel overpowered by whatever's happening, because there's so much happening. And you know, we forget that regardless of what it is, we can respond to it from a place when we're grounded in, you know, the truth of what's happening. So yeah, that's my way of saying what you just said, but I agree.
Yeah, like that means that you are fully accountable of
Yeah.
your actions.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Accountability, that's another term, that for a
Yeah.
good discussion.
Yeah. 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 Like you're fully present in the also the consequence of it is what I'm hearing. Does that align with what you're saying with accountability?
Yes.
Mm.
I mean, if you know you just are aware, because awareness is also another thing that actually goes one in one with that,
Yeah.
because you're aware that everything what you do, your actions have consequences, have impact,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so the awareness is, okay, if I do something wrong, I know that there will be something, some feedback for me, that is actually, it will come back to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. And I would add to that too, that because sometimes we can take over responsibility, right? We're overcorrecting for somebody's inability to speak up. So, you know, you could be in a room with somebody who's not used to stating their position, and we could be over accommodating at times. So it's to know where the responsibility for one ends and the other begins, and not to like go over.
Mm-hmm.
Meet them at that line where it's just like what's possible. You know, sometimes even sitting in the silence, the risk of silence. So
Yeah, this is usually, I think, I know what you talk about. It's about going to other spaces.
yes, yeah. Like when you say other spaces, what do you mean?
Yeah, like going there and just, like speaking in their name, putting the words in their mouth, or making decisions that actually that they're not theirs. You just go there and try to manipulate, basically.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
try, to do some influence on it, so it means like you go to someone else's spaces.
yeah. And sometimes we're doing it without even knowing, just because it feels good. Like, I know for myself, especially when I was early in my career, there was a lot of that. It was like presenting my view as the only view. And because I had belief in it or faith in it, it must work for everybody. But yet, when you get into the nuance, into the communication, to really listen, to be in contact with somebody else, you see how there's little variations that at the end of the day can make a big difference for each person. It's not this, we're not talking from the same thing, right? Which is also why I'm asking you at points what you mean in it, because my interpretation, even if it's a few degrees off, uh, I could be imposing on our conversation even what I'm thinking is true when it's like you're meaning something slightly different. So it happens both intentionally. Sometimes it is, people do it in a sense that they are doing it from this cunning place, this wanting to overpower somebody. But then it also happens subtly in day-to-day conversations where absentmindedly, it makes me feel good to share my perspective. It makes me feel good to feel witnessed, but I'm not the only one in the room, right? So it's like it's being aware of the dynamic and how it plays, how it goes back and forth. Maybe making more space for somebody's quietness to come forward.
Yes. And it's also accepting, and just that others have their opinion as well.
Yeah.
So it's just being there and just listening. Because some people get very offensive, if you just, don't agree what they say. Oh, but it's like that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So this is like this ego. When ego comes into the space, then there's like getting really difficult, to meet actually somewhere and just to have the clear communication.
Yes. Yeah. There's a book that was recommended to me when I was younger. It's called Listening Well. Um, I'll actually put it in the comments when I find it again. I have it, but it's beautiful because it touches on exactly that, communication and how we don't really communicate, right? We talk at people without really hearing what's being said. So it has some interesting. Why I like this book too is it has exercises in it where you can practice and play with either another person or groups of people. And it's amazing because after you're done, you tend to realize where you stand in the spectrum of communication. There, okay.
That's really interesting. Thank you for mentioning that book.
Yeah, I'll like I said when I'll bring it into the comments. So.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's really interesting. Like, mm, I will mention that you recently posted about, when you enter certain space, when there are other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what usually happens to you when you enter some space, when you go somewhere, to some event, so what
Mm,
usually happens? What do you notice? Because I know that you notice a lot, like their energy, you
right.
know,
Yeah.
and the patterns and everything. So what do you feel actually, when you are somewhere, when you enter the room?
Mm. But was it a particular? What was I talking about in that post? Just to refresh me a little, because I can come from several different angles with that question.
Yeah, like this was like someone certain enters the room. So everyone knows what they know. They all they've heard, like they
Oh,
have their feelings, they weigh how they are, and
yeah, yeah, yeah. In that particular post, I was talking about how that's where a lot of my uncertainty came from, is being around people that were certain in a specific lane or avenue. And what I found happens is that a lot of times it's almost like I used to lose my own coordinates, right? And so when that it would happen, it's very dislocating. It's like I can understand somebody's perspective so well that I lose myself. So that's been a part of my own training, is to really ground in and be able to hold my line, even in the place of stronger personalities or people with differing opinions, or where there's stakes involved in it, where it may be that I'm looked at a certain way, or I was helping one of my clients too. She was dealing with this person who was very overpowering in her work environment, right? And they spoke with such a high level of certainty that she wouldn't share her perspective. And so when we're in that place, it feels very disorienting. So it's for us, for those that have this, it's really about grounding in and settling into the body, taking it from concept and really anchoring in, so that when a differing opinion comes in, you could still hold your own. You could say no. You could face the risk of being wrong.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's a lot of there is a lot of self-awareness in that.
Yeah. Well, it's
Actually,
not. Go ahead. Sorry.
in all of your posts, it's a lot of self-awareness.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of inner work, and plus working with others, it's like you see patterns, right? You see things coming up more and more. And so, like I said, that's why I don't work from the perspective that it's like I can hold the room, but my authority comes from being grounded rather than knowing something more than somebody else. And I think a lot of people rely on that, what we know, to anchor a room, when it's really just the sense of presence, that something is true. Something is true in me, something is true in you right now. And although they may differ, they don't have to come in conflict with each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that you meet, from that heart space, and just open mind, and it's just flowing, and there is a understanding.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That we're able to take on the level of a risk appropriate for the conversation. Yeah.
Yes. So this is really interesting, why there is so much ego, in the room,
Yeah.
when actually we could have better relationships, actually, better communication,
Yeah.
because relationships are based on communication.
Yeah.
So what might be that issue, that people don't talk? Why there is so much noise in the communication, so much misunderstanding, so much assumptions,
Mhm. Yeah. Well, the stakes have went up, right? Because now everybody has a platform that wants one. There's low risk to actually sharing things. The perception is that knowing something is attributed to, generating financial gain. When I anticipate there's going to be a change coming soon, where we're going to have to up level that, where it really is about how well we can be present to the circumstances, and how well we're bringing the best of what we have to it, and not just presenting ourselves and needing to be seen a certain way, but how well we can meet what's actually here. What's your perspective?
There is a lot of room for improvement, because it's actually like it's for me, it's like we're not expressing ourselves enough in general.
Right.
In the outer world is just teaching us, just be quiet and go, and just, don't question, be that hamster in the wheel, basically. So, and that just goes deeper into disconnection, with ourselves, and basically with others, because there is time pressure. And
Yeah.
there are other, you know,
Yeah. That's
actually
true.
significant things that play important role in this, in communication.
Yeah.
And it's this ego as well. So
Yeah.
like that, and a lot of mm, as well traumas and all of these negative emotions.
Mm.
A lot of people, based on the past, they simply there's lack of forgiveness,
Hmm.
lack of attention, lack of there is I mean there was not enough space. There is opportunity, depends always on the perspective. But when you look back, why people can't even forgive, why they don't talk to each other,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
they're offended, because they don't want, they feel bad or whatever, they don't care, they
Hmm.
just want to bury it under the carpet.
Yeah. That's true.
So
That's true.
these are this is again my another perspective. So there is so much underlying emotions
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that
That's true.
play that are coming into the game, and we get to be considered somehow.
Mm. Yeah.
And they're not teaching this actually at school, how to approach each other and how to actually know yourself.
Yeah.
Because know yourself through the relationships with others,
Yeah.
but
That's
they're
true.
not teaching this.
Yeah. 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 It's how I interpret what you're saying is it's the level to which we've met ourselves is the degree to which we can meet other people too. I'm also hearing in what you're saying how much the emotions tie into it. That it's like, um, getting familiar with our emotional range and being accepting of the ones where there may have been an edge. For some people it's sadness, for others it's anger. For me, it was anger. So, and as we do that, it's almost like it increases the spectrum of how we're able to show up around each other.
Exactly.
Mm.
How we are able to show up in others' spaces.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. So when you say other spaces, you mean like not necessarily physical location, but just energetic boundaries.
Yes, as well.
Okay,
Yes, not necessarily physical,
okay. Yeah,
but how we actually treat, how we communicate, how we actually, how we approach others,
yeah,
and this is everything energy.
yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for me, it feels like it is coming. It's like we're exhausting this me-centric way of existing, that eventually there's going to have to be more curiosity about others, not just from the cognitive level, but from real sense of contact with others. So,
Yeah, so you see that awareness is very important because your awareness is very high. You can identify
mhm.
what's going on
Yeah,
in your energy
yeah,
and in the energies around you. And we talk about people,
right.
right?
Yeah,
And situations. So,
yeah. Awareness could be a challenging reach to start off with, though, because a lot of times we look at it from the spiritual lens, right? Awareness, like, I need to be more aware, when it's it can be a little bit more simplified than that. For me, it's more about the sense of being present to the areas that are scary. And when you can start to begin to not turn away, not look away from those things, that begins to be a doorway into bigger things. So it's not so much awareness that you have to have this sense of all-encompassing presence, but it starts small, and then we work up from there.
mhm. Yes, I agree that it's about being present
Yeah.
and just use your senses and be there. Just observe and just listen and just use your senses just to be. you know, in
Yeah.
here and now, eternal here and now.
Yeah. Beautifully.
I really like that. I really like that because yes, that be aware might sound really like too much spiritual for
Mhm.
someone.
For someone, yeah, not for everybody, but yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to know like what are your clients usually dealing with? You know, come to
Yeah.
you, what they usually deal with, what are their challenges?
I would say the underlying through line is the inability to make a decision or an important choice when it most counts. And or they're facing, a no-win situation where nowhere matter where they turn, there's no exit. The exit isn't clear. They're going to be affected by it regardless of the choice that is made. And so that requires a bit of a different approach because you can affirm yourself that you're going to get out of it, but to actually know requires a level of engagement with the circumstances that you're in. And it's a very hard thing to train ourselves to do when so much of life, especially in the media, is all about leaving, right? Becoming a different version of yourself, quantum jumping from where you are to where something else is. And so if you're carrying these big concepts into circumstances that is really requiring your presence, your attention, your decision, and it feels like a no-win situation, it could feel like there's no way out of that. And so there's a different way to approach it rather than from the mind only, right? Trying to come up with a solution, which is the first thing that we do. It's a form of self-protection. I got to figure this out. I got to make this thing happen so that this problem goes away. When really what it is first off, we just need to breathe with it, not take away the edge of whatever the story that's being produced so that we can actually sit and feel what is actually happening, because it's not only what's happening in the head, there's some voltage to it too, right? Something's happening and you feel this charge in the body and the emotions even. And so there's a level of presence that first needs to happen to kind of like take an inventory of exactly what's happening so that you can choose and decide rather than react.
Yes. So you used exactly that word, reactivity, reacting,
Yeah.
because that happens exactly when you are in survival mind,
Yeah.
and that actually makes it uneasy for you, for people, to make that decision,
Yes.
that clear decision, with the clarity,
Yeah.
what I really want.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Well, and then there's the extra layer because sometimes it feels like a death too. It's like, that on the other end of the event or the conversation, you're going to be different. Something is not going to be the same. And so, it's all of the stuff that goes in that's leading up to that. You're lying in bed at 3 a.m. You keep looking at the clock, and before you know it, you have to get up for work or you have to get up to do things now. And so your ability to bring the best of you to it, has diminished. So there's a lot of influencing factors, and we each have a signature way, a signature arc in how we approach it. And a lot of work that I've seen, it focuses on the up arc, how you're coming out of it. Whereas what I work with in a person is looking at the full spectrum and normalizing it, right? When you're going into the dark place, how does it look when you descend? And how can you bring more, how can you normalize it so that it's not so big or that you're not resisting yourself through the process that you go through naturally. And when you can stay open in the parts that you normally close, when you can stop resisting yourself when you're feeling the urge, all of a sudden that increases your capacity to stay present. Because the stories start to disappear. You're not bad because it's like you retreat for a while. You're not incapable because all of a sudden now you're ruminating, right? That's just a part of the curve. And so when you look at it from this perspective of non-judgment, it changes it. It becomes just simply what it is, which is an experience, feeling. You can bring in more of your capacity to address it. So that's how I work with people, is we look at the entire spectrum of their circle, you know, how they're approaching the biggest challenges in their life, and how can we normalize it so that it's not so impeding. Because once we can handle it on the internal feeling, then we can face anything externally, you know. It just takes practice.
I really like that you go more into the depth, you know, and you just use the entire spectrum, you know, to identify the challenge. So there, then you can get the entire picture.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because it's like there's so much out there that it's all about, you know, especially in the business world, right? It's all about having the right mindset. And if you don't have the right mindset, then there's something that you're doing wrong. So it's a lot of this kind of like mind control way of addressing challenges. I mean, it's shifting now because people are recognizing how much the emotions play in, how much the body plays in. But there's still a lot of pressure to change things on the outside before we've actually addressed what's internal.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the reality depends on the mindset, because everything starts in our mind,
Yeah, yeah,
our thoughts,
yeah.
actually. So
Give me 1 second. I just gotta check something here. Do you need the kitchen? Do you want me to? No. Okay, cool. All right.
Your local driver?
No.
Low cancer.
Oh no. Oh, that's crazy. My cousin's here too, so I just have to check in with him.
it's okay.
So
yes,
yeah,
so it's really great what you mentioned.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's just like I said, there's so much that we use to judge ourselves based on what's happening around, right? Where,
Yeah.
and I mean, and this is how it happened for me, is I had to push all of that away and just like sit with, okay, what's actually true in my own unique circumstance? What's true and what can actually hold water under pressure? And it's different for all of us. When you connect to that for yourself and give yourself permission to be in it exactly as you are, bring in the best of yourself, you approach life differently. And it's amazing, like for me as the facilitator, it's an amazing experience to witness when that change happens in somebody, because there's the realization that all of the stuff that they were listening to, all of what they were taking in, all of the ways that they used to judge themselves no longer has to exist in their world.
Awesome.
That moment where it's like, I get to make the rules. Oh, okay. I get to create the permissions. So yeah.
Yeah, that's just this beautiful self-realization, you know, going out of own prison,
Yes.
basically. Because we tend to keep ourselves in the prison of our mind, of our own mind,
Yes.
inventing the stories, as you said. You know, in a survival mind, our brain is trying to protect us.
Yeah.
Whatever is there, you know, we actually, you know, we doubt and fear whatever.
Yeah.
It's like being, you know, seen as a threat. So our
Yeah.
brain is just trying to protect, and you know, it's inventing the stories, and no, and it's like overthinking and stuff like that. It's and at the end, so it's just us standing in our own way. And I really love the word how you call yourself, like being that facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, everybody likes the titles, right? But the titles imply a certain level of authority over. It's like you know, I mean, even a doctor, you go into a doctor's office, you see the acronym doctor, and all of a sudden you're giving up a lot of your autonomy to them. You could feel something. How many times have people felt something? They go in and they're told, no, it's not that. You know, based on what I'm seeing in front of me and my expertise, it's not what it's appearing. So what do? We're like, okay, I guess I must not be feeling this, or something may not be off. When the reality is that if we trust ourselves and our inner knowing, we'd be, no, there's something here. I know it. I'm not letting this go until it's resolved. So I say a facilitator because I help facilitate the change, but I'm not the authority in their life. They are.
Yes, because you facilitate. You're that, that person with a lantern on their way, but decision is up to them. So
Yep.
it's not about forcing anyone to
No.
do anything,
Yeah.
but it's just like facilitating, giving them the information, more clarity,
Yeah. Yeah. Helping.
and the rest is up to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like, so much pressure in today's world too, right? It's like to have repeat clients. So, it's only to the advantage of the one who is the coach or the therapist or the doctor to keep them coming back, right? So it's like, of course, if you set yourself up as the authority and they need that authority, now there's a dependence. If they cannot make the decisions that they need to for themselves, and I shouldn't paint it all with the same brush, because there are amazing therapists, there's amazing doctors who also operate this way, right? But there is a distinction, and it's healthy to know that.
Yeah, and it's healthy, like, to express your standpoint, without judgment, because you're in a place of no judgment.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So feel free, because I also say I don't trust these authorities, that so-called authorities, specialists.
Yeah.
I just don't trust, because I see that they're actually not helping. It's like most of the time they're failing, or they're just trying to it's a pure manipulation, because they know that you are in pain, that you are hopeless, that you feel down or whatever, you're lost.
Yeah.
And you feel weak, and they take advantage of you, and so they try to bring you to the spaces that even normally, if you would be in the calm with the calm nervous system, you would never go there. But it's like, that's why I say feel free to say.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, especially because I like in the business world, I've been in since 2016. I've seen it a lot. And a lot of it uses psychological manipulation to get people to do things that they may not have done if it wasn't for the psychological trick being used, or, so I find it frustrating. And that's one of the things that I've wanted to counteract in my work, because I see the damage that it does. I see how stabilizing it is for people, And so for me, it all comes down to orientation. Would you rather have somebody sitting beside you on a bench, walking you through, honoring where you're at, or would you rather have somebody standing in front of you, over top of you, with a pointer stick showing you everything, right? It feels different.
Yes. And this usually happens in a space when in a treatment of chronic disease.
Yeah.
Disease is, there's a lot of manipulation going on, because the people, they're as well, like, let's put it, they are acting from the space, they don't have enough information.
Yeah.
So they are just trusting.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and you see that how much damage has been done.
Yeah. Well, and because it's like okay, there's a decision point when you're facilitating, when you're leading something. There's a decision point, because there's a moment where you realize you can feel the vulnerability of the person in front of you. And it's a decision. Are you going to take advantage of that for your own benefit? Or are you going to help it, bring it to their awareness and help them to empower themselves to make the decision themselves? And very few, are oriented to the second. More and more people want to take advantage of. And it's like, oh, now, it's like, especially financially, it's like, okay, let's see how far we can take this, right? When sometimes it's simple. You see some of the language out there, and they really overcomplicate things. There's all these terminologies and stuff for something very simple. It's like, can you actually, are you able to meet what you're running from? You know, can you be present to it? Can you make decisions from that place? Can you move when you're under pressure? You know, because having it very simplified, being able to practice a few things is easier than having to learn about how the nervous system operates and such. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not necessary in every case, right? But I'm saying for a lot of us, we know a lot. We know how things work. We're experts on, look at how many, like now, nervous system regulation is a big thing in the transformational world. But knowing something is very different than being able to meet it and change it from a structural level. It requires something different.
Yeah. And on the other hand, also, it's a difference just to have a knowledge and to apply it, actually, to live it, to embody it,
Yeah.
honestly. So now we are talking about the decision making and embodiment and the connection in between.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Because we're having this reality now, right? It's like it's a felt reality. So it's like it's either you're escaping it, you know, you're staying in the cognitive level, being able to explain it, or you're living it. And living it's not as sexy because it's silent, right? It's not something that broadcasts all the time. It's like something you could feel.
Yeah. So what actually means embodiment for you, and in which areas, into which areas goes your focus when talking about embodiment?
Well, it's an evolving topic for me. It's, you know, where I am right now is in the practice of, in my language, you know, I still, like when I write, and actually if you look at my Facebook page, you'll see it. There's times where I'm still talking from the concept. And that's good. It's necessary, but what I'm really seeing is what has an effect is when you can really land it and talk from from inhabiting it, right? So for me, embodiment is that it's this ability to inhabit something and know the full range of what it means. You know, it's not that you're presenting something. It's not that you're trying to appear some way. It's the realness of what is. It's the actual engagement with life from our visceral sense of connection with whatever it is. And so it's different. You know, it's the difference between looking at a picture of a mountain and actually being on the mountain and experiencing the view.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, exactly. Not just talking about it, but just like go by example. That means for me the embodiment,
yes,
you
100%.
know, literally.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. That's exactly it. So yeah, I still have troubles with it, especially, you know, being in front of the camera. I still, you know, because especially whenever there's a camera present, it's like the performer comes out, and you know, it takes some training. It's dialing that back. It's like, okay, still be yourself. You don't have to present some way. So
Yeah, but now you seem to be relaxed.
yeah, yeah. Well, because I'm talking to you too. It's like, you know, we have a good connection. So yeah.
Yeah, but actually I can see myself in that space as well. It's just I would be really like shy, you know, and just okay, you know, and just don't cock it up, you know. Let's just don't, you know, make a mistake and just, you know, too much, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
performer, as you say, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, it's these are habits that have been ingrained in us for a lifetime, and now we're just coming to this new awareness of how much embodiment plays in everything, right? So it's like the new discovery, and
Hmm.
so it's, you know, everybody has their view of it, their interpretation, and it's not complete from just one perspective. You know, it's all of ours coming together as we're building this new understanding and how to be anchored in reality as it is.
Yeah.
Because that's the only place we could change from, you know, was not bringing from the story of what could put the potential, and I mean that can happen too. I mean, people are doing it, you know.
Yeah.
You reshape your mind from the story, but I've never been, that hasn't worked for me. I've had a lot of trouble with manifesting, but this is more, I more see it as rendering, and rendering I can connect with because it means bringing through reality more in relation to how I want to experience it versus rehearsing.
Yeah,
So
I think there's like some trap with it, with manifesting, you know, because it doesn't have to really work for everyone. Just one method.
yep, that's exactly it. Yeah.
So as you said, rendering, which I know more from the digital artwork,
Yeah.
rendering,
Yeah.
3D and dimensional
Yeah.
objects
Yeah.
like fractals.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Well, it's like I attribute it to painting. So it's like when you're painting, you're slowly building up an image. You're open to the image shifting and going in a different direction than what you intended. You're making contact with
Yeah.
the parts of it that are difficult too. You're making contact with the mistakes that are made. You're seeing how you can work with the mistakes that are on the page to change them. And then by the end, you have the image, you have an image that is rendered. You brought it forward from nothing. And from my perspective, that's more real because that's how life appears. You know, it's like we're rendering ourselves in different environments versus trying to make something happen.
Hmm. That could be, you know, the similar word like transforming or adapting. So rendering, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Make
That's
room for
really
the,
interesting. I like that.
yeah, nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, each person
So
because this is
yeah.
the thing, like what I'm sharing is mine, right? But it's like when we connect with the truth of who we are, we start bringing forth our own. And so imagine how amazing the world would be if like we're all coming from our own perspective, not putting down the other person's because it's different, but making space for what works.
Yeah,
Allowing
actually
come through.
coming from that heart space,
Yeah, yeah. And
space of the acceptance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The acceptance, but also completion too, right? Because it still requires us to be present, to still have a sharp edge at times that we need, you know, to show up and speak our convictions around things, to actually be located in things.
Mm? From the space of wholeness.
Yes, yes, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Amazing. So what are your methods, you know, to calm your nervous system? You know, do you use breath work, meditation, or
Yeah,
you do, you know, some energy exercise? What do you do? You know, I know that you already mentioned art.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, but now I mean certain type of the work with your body, with
yeah,
parts of the body, intentional, you know.
yeah.
So what are your methods?
Yeah, for me, it's simply just getting in motion. Like I do a lot of walking. Actually, I haven't past couple months just because of my location, but that was my main way is to move, especially through the forest because it's
Yeah, nature. I saw
yeah,
your reels and shorts from the nature.
yeah, 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 yeah. That was my way. It was like I could start a walk and be very ungrounded, dislocated by the time I'm done. You know, I know where I'm at. I've located myself in whatever is happening, and so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, because
I do
like
go. Sorry, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, like you maybe you would like to mention another method or activity.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that breath work is another one that I use, but that
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's different. The quality is different. It's more. It makes you more sensitive to what's happening. It doesn't exactly. It's not necessarily processing in the mind, but it increases your awareness of things that you may have been avoiding. So it's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
powerful tool too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. So when we talk,
when I'm working with clients is a little different. We focus on creating the conditions, so which are non-judgment, not judging yourself for anything that comes up, being present to what is as it is. You're not trying to change the external circumstance or event. You're just opening up to that it's there and it's happening. Responsibility, you know, regardless of whatever it is, you have an ability to respond. And just, you know, really being present to what is. So so I hold those conditions as they tell the story or whatever, right? And then we're really looking for entry points, you know, to expand into beyond just what they're thinking, and wherever they're judging themselves, to release that pressure. Because when you do, it's like a different person that shows up. And then
Yeah, I believe.
right. And then under that, then the next layer is contact with yourself, contact with the relationships around you, and contact with the event or situation that's happening. And so somewhere in there, we start seeing the shape that they hold within the event that they're facing. And then it's just questions. How do they want to expand? You know, what are the pieces of themselves that they want to bring on board? How do they do that that's unique to them? So it's an exploration. It's not me just handing them over a template, right? I'm just bringing in some of the components that help to ease the process and normalize it.
Yeah, so that really requires, you know, that conscious choice to do the change,
Yeah.
to do the shift,
Yes.
go outside of that very known zone, comfort zone,
Yeah.
or that victim zone,
Yeah. Yeah.
full of saboteurs. Say bye-bye to saboteurs party.
Yeah.
No, and just really to start to be yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. You can even simplify further though, because like saboteurs, these are concepts that we've been given through stories, right? And we can simplify it even more, because outside of the saboteur, when we sink into the level of sensation and embodiment, certain things are just true. What you're feeling, whether it's expansive or contractive, where you are located in relation to whatever's happening, the space that you're taking up, how big do you feel energetically in relation to it, and your posture, how you're moving in relation to it. So these things, when you get outside the mind and the concepts that it holds, it becomes very simplified and easy to hold. As an example, I could tell you a story, you know, taking something simple. Somebody cut me off in traffic, and then they gave me the finger as they drove past. I'm feeling agitated, right? I can connect to the story of what happened. All of a sudden, we have this call afterwards, and I'm telling you about it. I'm like, this guy pissed me off. He cut me off, and he almost made me go off the road. He's such an asshole, right? And now I'm feeding on the story, or I could just stay with what is true. Yes, he cut me off. I'm feeling agitated. I feel tension in my chest. I'm feeling myself kind of shrink a little bit, because it's like I'm feeling a little bit fearful, or I'm angry and I want to take up space. Right? All of that is just information. And so the more that we could stay at the level of the context and the information itself of what's happening, that's where our ability is to change it. So.
Yeah, actually, I really like it, because in other words, you just say to put your hands off the hot stove, you know?
Put your hands off the hot what? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Of the hot stove.
Oh,
what
the
you
hot
just
stove,
said,
yeah.
you know, and don't get attached, you know? It's just like, okay, this happened. It just take it, as you say, as information that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
But important is that you actually survived, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to keep the positive thinking, whatever is going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or not necessarily positive thinking, because that could lead somewhere too, but it's just staying present to what is as it is, to reality.
Yes.
You know,
Okay.
I'm
That's okay. I agree.
I'm still feeling discomfort. I am not liking the situation. All that is true. But what is even more true? The fact that the feeling is still present. It's still holding some aspect of me hostage. So.
Yes. Thank you. Because yeah, sometimes it happens that even I don't choose the proper word, for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's an orientation too, though, right? So we can look at it and say you didn't choose the proper word, but you're also bringing in your perspective, which is also true. Because I know for you, you've done a lot of work with the emotions and stuff, and the psychology. So, and that is also true from a perspective.
Yeah, and I just really love that we can meet always,
Yeah,
whether it's from your perspective, mine, or another one, and we just find, we
yeah,
meet.
yeah,
We
yeah,
always meet, it's just amazing
yeah,
how this works.
yeah. I agree, my dear. Yeah, yeah. We're not looking to overpower each other because there's space for all of it.
Yes. So we've been going on 1 hour. So would you like to say something like before we end?
Yeah, no, I would say that instead of directing people to what I do and that, like, of course there'll be that there, but there's an advantage to listening to more to what's within. I think that's what's missing in today's world. Actually listening, hearing, listening to the subtleties within, finding the deeper intelligence other than what our mind is saying. And when you can do that, when you begin to locate yourself, you could do it in any circumstance. So that's what I would pass on.
No, yeah. Just simple listening.
Yeah. Yeah, hearing.
It's just hearing, listening is it's enough
Yeah, that's exactly it.
in that sea of distraction and chaos and everything what's going on, that's it trying to to brainwash and just
Yeah,
suck you in that energy, to create attachments.
yeah, yeah. Well, the most important thing these days is being able to locate ourselves. I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, but it's like it has nothing to do with lack of knowledge, lack of understanding. It's where are you in relation to what's happening? And do you have the ability to stand for what is true for you?
Yeah.
Especially in such high stakes. Now, I mean, people are getting killed for that, right? So it's like there's a lot of fear in the collective consciousness about actually speaking up, saying things. And
Mm.
the most important place to do that is with ourselves. I don't agree with what you're saying about me. No, my perspective is different, and I'm okay to be here. I'm okay that you don't like it. I'm okay that you're angry because of it, because I'm
Yeah.
still so.
Yeah, it's about the standing your ground and just speak your truth
Yeah,
no matter what.
yeah,
Are the influences external,
yeah. Yeah. Speak your truth, stand your ground, and be able to take on the risks. To know where it's worth it for you and why.
Yeah. That's just amazing, that there's so much things that we could talk about. I know that we can leave something for the next time.
Yeah, I'm open to it, my dear. Thank you for.
Okay. Thank you as well. So would you like me to put some of your links in the description, or it's just like,
Yeah, let's just keep it going back and forth. I like how we're doing this. You know, um, yeah, like I'll put it on my Facebook page too, and just I'll share it.
oh, okay, I respect that, but
Yeah,
just we're changing and we're talking, maybe,
yeah,
there's going to be something inspiring for the others.
yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's great. Thank you, Loncen, for joining me today.
yeah. Thank you, my dear. Look forward to more.
Yeah, I always enjoy that. And yeah, we can talk about this emotional stuff on and on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
So
that's the thing.
thank
I mean,
you.
there's like things we didn't talk about. I know you just came back from a trip, and what we talked about off is pretty interesting too. So there's lots of stuff we could bring in.
Yes. Maybe next time you can actually we can switch and you can ask me.
Yes, absolutely.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm absolutely down for that. Yeah.
You know, I don't mind, because actually I love just the flow, how it goes. You
Yeah.
know, so whatever you can bring up, I can share some things, you know, that I went
Yeah.
through when I
Yeah.
was in US. So
Yeah,
and
yeah. Well, yeah, 100%. Yeah, like
that's
have the conversations that we have offline. Yes, absolutely.
yeah, so that's great. So thank you very much
Thank you.
today for joining me. Thank you for joining the Natural Sentient podcast.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Heard it.
So, and see you next time.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Take care.
Bye. Take care.